Hello and welcome to Wake and Jake. Myself, Jake Storielli, Big Baby David. In this wild world of sports, we are sneaking up on the trade deadline in a couple months. We have an early preview of that. Shout out to our guy Dave Schoenfield. If you want to follow along with us, he chewed through the teams. A couple big names you probably already know. Sandy, Cat's Got Your Tongue. And then we could chip away at some other sports. This is a slightly earlier pre-record. I had some things come up. My apologies. So if you're one of the few sickos at the end of this looking for Jake's NBA updates, well, the games haven't happened yet, so I can make some stuff up. Maybe that's what I do anyways. Although I did watch our Knicks lose last night. Tough. That's now 2 nights ago. Anyways, ESPN Insider article, Dave Schoenfield. So maybe I shouldn't be giving this away, but maybe I am, because I'm going to add my own opinions to it. Dave shouldn't be that aggressive with a guy I'm trying to befriend. I said actively befriend this year.
Future friend.
Yes.
Sounds like they view it pretty positively if you share what's in there.
The trade deadline is next. No, going back to last year, there's a couple things to take in play with every trade deadline. There's going to be a lot of pitchers. Our Yanks are already open for business. If you've got someone that can pitch 4 innings, currently 2 guys in the Yankees rotation they're hoping to get 4 innings out of, Carlos Carrasco and Will Warren. Clark Schmidt making his way back and got knocked around last night. Anyways, enough Yankees, dude. Jazz Chisholm traded to the Yankees. Stop with the Yankees last year. So every trade deadline, there's a pretty simple formula. Losing team, bad team, guy whose contract is up at the end of the year, classic trade rental. We've also, more and more popular have been the 1.5-year trade. You get this guy for a playoff run, and you get him for next year. One less thing to do in the offseason. We've even seen a couple, the 2.5, the dangerous 2.5, my old nickname in college. Come on, guys, don't comment that. Don't comment that. This is who fed that?
Come on.
I control the narrative, and that's what I chose. This article by our friend Dave starts with the unlikely playoff contenders because that's where you can find a lot of your trade candidates, right? Our Marlins, the Marlins have been fighting this season. Who says they're out? But with the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. signing, reminder, $500 million. I keep forgetting that. Miami, and hopefully for them, Sandy Alcantara becomes one of the most wanted trade pieces. Sandy, if you haven't taken notice, has been bad recently. Sorry, guys. Sandy, who came out in his first 2 starts, was okay. 4.2, 2 earned runs, 5 innings, 2 earned runs. He then went 5.24 against the Nats, which is that's fine. The Phillies got to him. 2 innings, 6 earned runs, only 2 strikeouts in his last 2 outings. So, Sandy Alcantara, coming off a significant injury, to have trade value, you got to have trade value. A little analytics from me. So Sandy's going to have to pick it up. And I guess even to a respectable degree, because I don't know, with the new wild card, your National League is going to be stacked. That I don't know how many teams are going to be true sellers. If you look at the MLB teams right now, who is a lock to be selling? Your Colorado Rockies. Wait till we get to that segment. Please plunder them, except they won't trade with you. Kyle Farmer available. Maybe, maybe not. They might extend him. Miami, I think we can say, well, they're 10-12. I think we can say with some decent confidence the Marlins will be selling. It's just a matter of what do they really have to sell. If there's something in the lineup you like, let them know. It's a lot of young guys with kind of control, but I don't know if it's anything you can bank on. They did just call up, BBD, Agustin Ramirez, new starting catcher. former Yankees prospect.
Big piece of that Jazz trade. You won't stop talking about this up.
Listed as the 40th prospect in MLB. So go Augustin, go. Serious power from the catching position. Max Meyer, who just had a great start for the Fish. 14 strikeouts?
Yeah.
Crazy. Minnesota boy. I think you can get some pitching from these Marlins come the trade deadline. I think the whole bullpen should be open. I think the whole rotation should be open, except probably, ironically, Max Meyer, who just had that amazing outing. Edward Cabrera just made his way back. That guy was a part of trade rumors before he got banged up. Sandy Man, hopefully he turns it around because that would be a truly exciting piece for this trade deadline. A game changer when he's right. And you know Cal Quantrill's just throwing innings down there. Don't know what it means. I'm probably going to be light on the bullpen this episode because sure I could tell you about Anthony Bender and Calvin Fauché and Tinoco for the right price. I'll let you deal with that on your team's own trade deadline. Can't have enough arms come October, as I'm always saying. Hopefully Sandy turns it around because right now it hasn't been sharp, and I think he would be the most fun piece at the deadline. Or I think the other piece you could argue from another team that is pretty certain to not be in the postseason is Luis Robert, the Cuban Mike Trout. This guy, depending which year you had him on your fantasy team, he could be one of your favorite baseball players. Luis Robert, a career 780 OPS. That's pretty good for a talented defensive center fielder. In 2023, the 25-year-old had 38 home runs, 20 stolen bases, pre-pizza box bags, an 857 OPS. Luis Robert, premier player in this league. Last year, he didn't hit really well. 224, 278 on base. Yikes. For an 87 OPS plus. The worst news is it's gotten worse. Luis Robert hitting 145, a 515 OPS. It's April. I'm regretting not making him our starting center fielder on the all-struggle bus team. Thank you for checking that out. My guy Jake McCarthy got sent down right after that episode went up. That's tough, man. That's tough. The other thing with Luis Robert, and we've done this conversation before. We've done it at deadlines. We've done it in the offseason. Luis Robert's making $15 million this year. That's not nothing. I'd like that. He has team options for $20 million the next 2 years. If Luis Robert plays well, those are a deal. If Luis Robert plays poorly, those are not a deal, and you're getting a rental of Luis Robert. Then I'm very interested to see how it all sorts out. Luis Robert, in a way, is going to control his own destiny. If he can put together a month, 2 months, heading towards the trade deadline, he is a piece a lot of teams would love to add. Talk about a guy who changes scenery, feels like it would work wonders. But Luis Robert's not doing himself any favors right now. With about as bad of an offensive start as a player of his caliber should have to start this season. White Sox fans, if you're here, hello. It's going to be okay. Not this year, but 1 year. Luis Robert is walking a lot more, which he didn't do at all last year, so maybe it's just one of those trying to do this more, but it's actually taking away from what makes you good because walking was never his strength. In his 2023 season, I referenced that he got MVP votes in the Silver Slugger. 30 walks, 172 Ks. Yikes. Not great. But when you hit 38 homers and 36 doubles and steal 20 bags and a 542 slugging, walkouts and strikeouts start to matter a lot less. He's walking more this year. Great. White Sox fans and other teams around the league trying to get this guy would love if he starts hitting again. So a lot of teams, if you need outfield help, if you need a right-handed bat, this is one of the premier guys who's going to be available for you. Let's see the career splits. Are we better versus righty or lefty? he is better versus lefty. So if you're needing a lefty mauler, maybe Lou Bob is your guy. Very interested to see how the market lands with him. I wonder if the White Sox just ride the whole thing into the ground, because this asset has depreciated on them. Again, coming from 2023, it looked like one of the best contracts in the game. Everything has gone south for that franchise. Sorry to my White Sox fans. You didn't need this. Colorado Rockies, I mentioned. Just don't get yourself excited. Herman Marquez, Kyle Freeland has a year and a half. Ryan McMahon. They don't trade. This is my PSA. If you are a fan of a team and you see something on the Rockies you want, consider it forbidden goods. They don't trade. Just to get off Arenado, which is that trade looking better? Still not really.
Arenado's hitting.
They didn't get much back, and they signed Chris Bryant.
They paid him to go away.
I've hurt myself by looking at Rockies players. I'll never forget. One of my favorite annual episodes, the Talking Baseball trade ep. I was like, oh, Daniel Bard, the Rockies? What a perfect trade deadline piece. They held on to him. I still hold a grudge on that. Maybe that's a reflection of me. Your Pittsburgh Pirates, looking like a sell. They could not. The Heen Dog. I love that for some team. I think Heen Dog in the right city. He's the perfect trade deadline piece when you don't need a piece. No offense, Andrew. If you need another starting pitcher to get through the grind of the season, which literally every team does, God, how about him? A Yankees reunion? Run it back?
Whoa.
It went as bad as possible. It'd be high risk for both sides. We love a redemption story. The Heen Dog, it's a fun baseball page to get lost on one time. He's had a great start to this season. 4 starts, a 2.13 ERA over his 25.1 innings. When he's locked in, it's kind of unhittable. He's got that weird hitch in his windup. Guys can't seem to see his fastball. It's very slingshotty. The last couple years are just, man, if you take out that Yankees stop, you're looking at a low 4 ERA. He's going to throw you innings. He's going to have a good day at the office. He's going to have a bad day at the office. But he's out there pitching. And God, as we've seen with every playoff team down the stretch, you can't have enough arms come October. Not sure what that voice was. If you have an opinion on it, let me know. The Washington Nationals. Tommy Pham will end up middle of a playoff lineup. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
I don't know which one, but probably maybe Royals.
Your team should consider it.
Royals, though, they got to figure it out. The Washington Nationals feels like a tough year to be in the NL East. I don't know why teams don't like Kyle Finnegan more. I still value saves. Call me old-fashioned. And he has 66 saves over the past 2 seasons. Fastball split. The baseball savant is solid. I don't think he's ever been confused with being elite, but I also don't think Kyle Finnegan has ever been confused for being bad. The Nationals ended up bringing him back for $5.375 this year. Of the bullpen options that'll be named, I don't know. I guess I haven't watched Kyle Finnegan regularly. I just see mentions and highlights, and Yanks go to town, or if I pop on the Nats game, and I'm like, all right, there's some velo in there. There's some good relief pitcher energy. But this guy's been available at other deadlines, and even he's a free agent that the Nats, they didn't. What's the right phrase?
They non-tendered him.
They non-tendered
this
him
offseason. And brought him back on, I think, like the same number he was due to get.
Very similar number. So sometimes baseball can be funny that way. And don't burn bridges, folks. That's a life lesson to learn there. And Josh Bell will be traded at this deadline. And he's off to a slow start. But Josh Bell, the last 2 years, Negative WAR on his team by the trade deadline, traded somewhere else, positive WAR the rest of the way. So, again, another perfect, if you got first base or DH, to take a chance on a switch hitter who's won a Silver Slugger and to maybe tap into 2 good months, and you're going to trade your number 27th ranked prospect? Josh Bell loves a trade. He's been in a few of them. The teams that people are hoping fall out of contention. The Athletics, surprisingly not a ton of pieces. The piece listed by our guy Dave Schoenfield, my friend in the future, is Justin Sterner that, I'll be honest, me and BBD know a little bit of ball. Got a reaction out of both of us. I'm not super familiar with Justin Sterner. But he's got a nice ERA and a nice whiff rate right now, which tells you that's a good way to get on a team. That one doesn't get you as excited. I think a team that people are going to have circled all year are your St. Louis Cardinals. Today's episode is sponsored by True Classic. True Classic has one mission: make sure guys look good and feel even better. They've nailed fit, feel, price across your entire wardrobe, not just tees, hoodies, jeans, activewear, everything you need to level up your everyday style. But True Classic isn't about great clothes. Their brand DNA is built on being highly intentional in everything they do, creating high-quality essentials to making folks laugh with their hilarious ads, their Ritz-Carlton level customer service, to giving back to communities they believe in. Every detail is done with a purpose. So forget the overpriced designer nonsense. Skip cheap throwaways. True Classic delivers premium essentials built for real life. Grab yours at Target or Costco, or head to trueclassic.com/bakers to get hooked up today. People had them circled in the offseason. They got off to an okay start. They just ran into the buzzsaw that is the New York Metropolitans. We know the Cardinals are fine not being in it this year. They've told everyone that. I think the piece that gets a lot of people excited, Ryan Helsley, again, one of the top closers in the game, maybe underrated. Troy Percival vibes for me. That guy should be traded. If the Cardinals are not in the wild card mix, whoever adds Helsley to their bullpen, your bullpen just got really good. There's going to be a lot of AL East chatter over Helsley, a lot of NL West chatter over Helsley. Ain't that it? And that's a guy that there's very few guys you trade for and you're like, here's the 9th. Helsley's one of those guys. Nolan Arenado, and this is something I haven't fully processed yet. Alec Boehm, who I don't know if he's getting mentioned later in this, but he was on the all-struggle bus team. That Phillies shakeup we've talked about. Nolan Arenado. I believe the Phillies are on his list of yes, if I remember correctly.
From this offseason, I don't know if the list has changed, but they at one point were on that list.
I mean, the teams that are interested or listed here, the Phillies, who, man, kind of like that. That's a stadium Nolan Arenado hits with. That's a bunch of alphas that Nolan Arenado fits in with. Defensively, you know what you're getting. That if Nolan Arenado, if his hitting numbers aren't obviously what they were back in his peak, but even if he's a league average hitter with his plus third base on that Phillies team, like a seventh hole Arenado, fire me up. And fire up Philly fans. That really turned my head. I guess that's not, when Bregman and Arenado were happening, I know the Phillies were in the mix, obviously the Red Sox. But also listed here, the Cubs, who just demoted Matt Shaw, which, again, we're unfortunately taking points for that because seeing his batting stance, it's a tough stance at the major league level. I hope it's wrong. I hope it all clicks.
You see a rookie doing that?
Yeah.
It's just shocking.
It either works and changes the game or it doesn't. Not a lot of guys change this game. I also see the Blue Jays listed here, which I don't know. I don't know if Nolan's in for that. I don't know if Toronto's in for that. I mean, it would be the amount of Blue Jays infield money they would have brought in this year between Andres Jimenez's contract, if they trade for Arenado, and then Vladdy, the half a bill they just gave him. It's just a lot of money. I know Toronto's about that life, and their fans have been telling us, but that's a lot of money for two guys. Hey, the Vladdy thing is great. We support it. Jimenez, I don't want to say seemed untouchable, but wasn't an exciting contract. Arenado, we just talked about, should the Rockies get kudos for getting off of that? They should not. But also the Cardinals are trying to get off of that. It's rare to... I don't see Toronto's winning formula being taking two bad infield contracts.
That much money in two glove-first players.
Prove me wrong. Go nuts.
And that can be said in an insulting or not insulting way, but you do that, and Bo Bichette's like, guys.
Yeah, Bo Bichette would be having a bad time. Between two great defenders, so maybe he wouldn't. A lot of eyes on those St. Louis Cardinals, because you wonder, I mean, Sonny Gray's contract is not movable. I think does he have the 2 years left? $35 million next year. Wow, good for you, Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray's ace adjacent is what Trevor Plouffe says, and I really like that term. $35 million in 1 year for Sonny Gray to throw baseballs. He deserves it. All these guys do. And then there's a team option for $30 million. Sonny Gray is sneaky old, but
full no trade.
Full no trade. I'd be very curious. Everyone preaches how much of a competitor Sonny Gray is. He would definitely have his preference of cities. A Midwest guy growing up Oklahoma ended up at Vandy or Tennessee. Why did I have Oklahoma in my head? I think that's just wrong. Tennessee, the Oklahoma of the East, though. I could see Sonny, I know this is ironic because of Nolan Arenado. I don't know if the Houston Astros called Sonny Gray and said, let's do this for a year and a half. Seems like he'd be down, right? I don't know.
No idea. Nobody knows, but
no idea.
Doesn't feel like a spot he's auto-vetoing.
Sonny Gray, the Cub? Cardinals and Cubs when they trade. Cardinals, team to watch to see if the wheels actually fall off this year. I wonder, Alec Bohm and Nolan Arenado. What does that look like on a trade machine? Arenado's money. Is Bohm bad? That's interesting to me. The Angels, Kenley and Tyler Anderson, sure. Pitching at the deadline. I love Kenley Jansen, so get him on a postseason team. He's 37. I believe in what he does. I know there's some times that aren't pretty. Get him on a contender. Tyler Anderson, if you get into the numbers, what he is doing to right-handed hitters, basically throwing an 84-mile-per-hour cutter. He's been like the best pitcher against right-handed hitters this year, which is just insane. I'm not hating on the Angels for a month. Tyler Anderson, he's a guy. If he is a baseball reference page that, I don't want to look at people and tell them about knowing ball. Tyler Anderson got called up with the Colorado Rockies for his first 4 years. We know how that goes for a lot of pitchers. Since leaving the Colorado Rockies, Tyler Anderson has made 2 All-Star teams in his early 30s. He's pitched, Dodgers, Seattle, Giants, Angels. He's hopped around a lot. Let's see. 3.97 ERA. 106 ERA plus. I don't know. It's just, for me, that's one of those, hey, if you put Tyler Anderson and he started his career pitching for, Oakland formerly Oakland, instead of those Rocky years? Like, what do his stats look like? Do we think of him differently? I guess we can daydream another day on that. But I still have my Angels. That's right, my Angels selling at the deadline. Man, I think another team that's going to get, if it doesn't turn around quick, the Minnesota Twins. Watch your head. A little basketball dunk talk. I don't know. Can I tell you about our presenting sponsor, Cushy Dreams? The best in legal cannabis just got better. You know our friends at Cushy Dreams by now. If you don't, I just don't even know what to tell you. Great THC products that ship directly to you. Everyone loves their gummies. If you've seen us consume their gummies, probably on our JJTV channel, maybe the IKF trade, they get the job done. They also have the THC flower power, baby. Whether you're looking indica, sativa, hybrids, the stuff is euphoric. They have all of it. And if you're looking to smoke, if you're looking to nibble, if you're looking to do whatever you like to do when you do what you do, why don't you do it with our friends at Cushy Dreams? And why don't you save yourself 20% off the gummies, the smokable THCA flower, the entire store when you use code JOHNBOY at checkout. Go check out our friends at Cushy Dreams. They're the best. Code JOHNBOY, 20% off. Enelis Duran, which, whoo! If you can get that guy's arm talent on your team and you have a pitching coach you like or a pitching lab you like, Duran makes money for a reliever. $4 million. I mean, not crazy. Not that you could hold that over the Twins' head, but this is a team that is watching their dollars closely. A reliever, just the price tag is different. And Duran, I don't want to say he hasn't lived up to the billing, he has this year, 10 games, a 0.96 ERA. So if he keeps pitching like that, we're going to be okay. Last year, he landed at a 3.64. The external or the peripherals were better than that. Trevor made it sound like he was struggling at when to throw his off-speed pitches because it's got to be a weird feeling when you can throw 102 regularly. When do I throw my off-speed? And am I helping out the hitters by even offering that? If the Duran season clicks, he's 27 years old, and he would be available at the deadline, and there's years of control. To get an actual price tag for relievers, pardon my French and cover the kids' ears here, I think that makes baseball GMs horny. Whenever they can trade a reliever for actual... Like, just think about it. Relievers can die so quickly. I don't think Duran's in that boat. Like, as long as this guy's on a field, he's scarier than a lot of relievers. But you're trading a guy whose best case is like a 2-WAR season. If you can trade Duran for an outfield prospect that you think is going to be your starting outfielder for 5 controlled years, that's a 3-WAR player a year. Like, for GMs, that's what they build their resumes on. That's... 3 times 5, everyone knows that's 15. I didn't have to think about it and say that sentence. You're getting a 15-WAR, 5-year outfielder, potentially, for a reliever for 2-3 years. It's going to get you 2 WAR if they're amazing. Never mind if they're bad. That guy could become one of the sexy names at the deadline. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it. What's he talking about even right now? No, I think there's been, because so many teams have been in around this expanded wild card, there's been, I think it's where the NBA still wins a little bit, that teams kind of still like to lose, that a lot of teams get to fill in their holes, or we see the veterans get cut, and that by the end of the NBA season, you're looking out on the court, and you're like, wow, I know a lot of these guys. They are chasing rings. In the NBA, they chase rings. The MLB isn't chasing rings. We're chasing getting to the playoffs and hoping for the best. With names like Duran, and I know Kenley's on a different level at this point in his career, but Duran, Helsley, let's get these guys on postseason teams and compete with those bullpens that San Diego has built up, the Dodgers have built up, and knowing this, like Duran to the Dodgers, don't rule it out. man, if Minnesota gets out of the mix, you just wonder how funky they can get. Byron Buxton's been playing well, and he's such an injury history, and he's part of the fabric, and he gets paid. Like, the Twins could end up asking some really interesting questions. Would Pablo Lopez be on the table? His contract looks like a steal. He kind of signed an extension before it felt like the pitching money took a jump. That my guy Pablo Lopez, I want to say it's $25 million a year for the next 21.75.
I was about to say, I think I'd take the under.
He gets that 26 and 27. So if you're the Minnesota Twins, and let's say the rebuild is on, for 2.5 years of Pablo Lopez, you could really replenish whatever you're looking to replenish. And in that AL Central, as we've seen year in, year out, like, you can build it up. The Twins could get off that 21 mil that they're struggling with their TV stuff. That's a guy that I'm watching out for this year. If the Twins are out of it, I mean, he could be the gem of the deadline.
It's a perfect trade piece for them and whoever's getting him, because it's a bargain for the acquiring
Great
team,
contract.
but it's enough money that it makes a very real difference for the Twins books if they got off of it, as we're pocket watching the Twins. But be careful. He does have a $100,000 World Series MVP bonus that he's due if he gets there. So if you're getting him to ring chase, just be careful with that. You might want to line up for Game 4.
That's right. That's smart business. If you're watching on the YouTube, thank you. Subscribe. Does my left arm look long today? I just did a Heisman pose, and I don't know. It feels like I got a little extra reach.
It feels like you could really break something.
I mean, that's
down
crazy. Minnesota! We're always keeping an eye on them. And it feels bad. That's the good news. That they would be a fun trade team this year. I think it's heading that way. Tampa Bay Rays, you guys already know. They're going to have some bullpen options. Pete Fairbanks coming up on it. Everyone in a sneaky way is available for the Rays. We just watched the Rays. It's a really weird product right now. To my Tampa fans tuning in, hi, sorry. I know there's always a little bit of a Yankee edge there, and I understand why. It feels like they need to fully flip the script to, like, the next Rays team. And it feels like they're doing that, right? Like, Junior Caminero. Felt super white saying that. I feel like I need to get better at saying that. Junior Caminero. That was too far. Too far the other way.
Overcorrect.
Caminero at third. Maybe that's what I'll say. Jonathan Aranda. Like, he looks like he can really hit. They just called up Chandler Simpson, fastest guy in the minors. Some of these other guys. Jake Mangum's 29 years old. I don't know what's going on there. Get me to the next part of Rays baseball. And when I say that, I'm looking at Brandon Lau and Yandy Diaz. They are the two 30-year-olds in the lineup. Danny Jansen also just turned 30. If someone wants him, go get him. Brandon Lau, the power he provides at second base, and he can play a little outfield. The Astros were mentioned in this, and I was like, damn, that would be actually a great fit. He's kind of got Astro vibes. He could play second or left field. They need another lefty bat. And if I'm the Rays, what I'm seeing right now with this team is like, let's get to the next step, and let's get to a team identity, because it felt really weird this weekend. And if Rays fans think that shots fired, let me know. But I believe it. And I mean, Garrett Clevenger's 31 in their bullpen. Pete Fairbanks, like, let's keep the Rays out of it in the nicest way. Because just go full Rays. It feels like we're doing an in-between dance right now. Go all young. Ha-Sung Kim's going to be with them at some point this year?
Oh.
What's that about? Like, what is that about? I don't know. I'll always root for Ha-Sung Kim. Get Josh Lowe back, too. I think he's good. But, yeah, we know the Rays are going to be trading. It doesn't seem like their biggest upside year. Fairbanks has a club option. And so Lau has a club option, too. And so did Yandy. Like, get it. Rays, turn the page. Bob Seger. Cincinnati Reds, they're listing some of their pitchers. My Reds are not selling this year, okay? We're going to be in it. We're going to buy pitchers. Although Taylor Rogers makes a ton of money for a relief pitcher. There's a section listed as if something has really gone wrong that starts with the Orioles and the Braves, the two teams that I bought into at the start of this season. Zach Eflin is listed, sure. I mean, if I'm calling Andrew Heaney your typical trade deadline arm, fourth or fifth starter, a couple innings, Zach Eflin should be a tick up from that. If these Orioles are selling at the deadline, watch out. Bird fans should be very mad. This is supposed to be like peak Baltimore Orioles baseball. Corbin Burns left, and our solutions have not looked right. They need to turn it around quick. Otherwise, they're going to get lost in this AL East. And the AL's weaker this year. The Astros struggled for a month and a half, blah, blah, blah. I get all of it. The AL East is tough, and the AL East schedule hasn't really begun yet. This Orioles lineup needs to get back to being a kind of a dominant lineup. It was up and down. It was every inning they were putting pressure on you. It hasn't felt that way in a little bit. And sometimes we feel dumb when we point at the big names because it's like, well, baseball and you need young guys and blah, blah, blah. Santander, Corbin Burns gave them massive seasons last year. In a season that felt down. The two big pieces are gone. I don't know, Orioles figured it out. The Braves list Ozuna, who's on the last year of his contract. $16 million, by the way. Kind of a bargain for how he's hitting. If the Braves are selling at the deadline, I don't think they can. I genuinely don't think they can. Especially what the Braves are supposed to be in right now, a dynasty run. And I still love that Braves deadline. I mean, they ended up winning the World Series, so why wouldn't you? But when they just added a whole new outfield, Jock, Soler, Rosario, I think there's someone else. Duvall?
Was that Duvall coming back?
I mean, they had
he's re-returned a couple times.
Added a whole new outfield, won the World Series. That if I'm the Braves or I'm Anthopoulos, that I have that feather in my cap. If I'm 500 around the deadline, which the Braves can't be under 500 at the deadline, can they? I don't know, Jim. I think they're going to get over this start. I think the Braves are still going to be good. There's no chance. I'm also put the Seattle Mariners. They list Logan Gilbert on here. If the Mariners trade Logan Gilbert this year, end the team. I'm out. That's not going to happen. I think the Mariners are playing a pretty good brand of baseball right now. Cal Raleigh is tied for the major league lead in home runs. If Logan Gilbert's available, all the pitching losers, Eno and Foolish, love him. So that means front offices love him. I like him. I don't want to downplay it. I find it interesting that Foolish and Eno jump to him as one of the best guys. And I guess I see it. There's a big pitch mix. He's been consistent. I guess I Seattle him a little bit, where I give the stadium a little credit. And I don't know. We were kind of George Kirby guys.
Yeah.
Stole his thunder a little bit. That's fine.
In any event, there's a Seattle pitcher could go. Whether they're falling out of it or looking to add.
I guess, how about, I'll bring it back. Trade one of them.
Yeah.
It just probably shouldn't be Logan Gilbert because all the nerdy guys I love him. So, trade Brian Wu.
It's on you to pick the right one.
I think Brian Wu's awesome. He just gets banged up. Anyways, Houston Astros, they list Framber. No way. I just don't see my Astros dying. Last season they should have died, and they didn't. So I'm not going to entertain that. Royals, man. I am worried about the Royals. I feel like a bad case of the not hits is tough to lose. They list Michael Lorenzen, which, it kind of feels like he's a trade deadline guy every year. Bullpen or rotation. Still gets paid. It's a nice life. Gotta be tough with the family. We're probably moving at the deadline this year. Josh Bell.
Red Sox stock that we've talked around a lot. Trade deadline episode's fun.
Okay.
Do a
How
lot,
are they
do a lot of the
releasing
family
those?
talk.
How are they releasing those?
I mean, I don't know if they did a slow release, but I think it's just all out.
Oh, okay.
I watched just all 8 eps.
Gotcha. Toronto's another team to circle. I know they got off to an okay start. I mean, it was like a week into the season. Chris Bassett has been pitching out of his dome. He's in his final year of his contract. And Bo Bichette, man. Bo Bichette. I just talked about them bringing in Arenado. Bo's like, you're not going to pay me? You're paying everyone else so much money. And I might be the best. He's got to show that. It's been a minute for Bo. It has always been a funny daydream if somehow he ended up on the Braves. I don't know. I don't think Toronto's a seller. Like I think they're exhibit A of maybe what I was talking about before of teams like, hey, sell Duran. Like Twins, what are you really going to do? And this is so rude. The Jays, they just signed a guy for $500 million. Like, go compete. And they'd have to really get out of that wild card race, which is really hard to get out of, especially in the American League. I don't see it. The article goes into, I guess this is the other side of the table now, because it starts talking about Alcantara's landing spots, which, again, if you're going to pick him, you could pick any starting pitcher. Mentions the Cubs. They have some serious prospect capital, and they've lost Justin Steele, and it feels like they have the good juice that it feels like this year is going to be the year they push a couple more of the chips in. It's just, what does that mean? Our Yankees are listed. They are going to have to trade for a starting pitcher. They're already out. Hopefully Luis Gil comes back. Maybe Stroman can regain some form. Even if the Yankees are going to need starting pitchers, they're in the mix. A lot of their young players have been playing well this year, which bodes well for their farm, and even like Will Warren, who's gotten an opportunity. Yankees are going to be in the mix. The Red Sox, I'm interested to see. Have they already made their moves? Because they made a lot. Crochet's awesome. Breggie's awesome. I don't know if they're going to be in on a big piece or move any of their big guys. Like, they're listing Marcelo Mayer as one of their prospects they could move. I just think they've brought those guys so close to the finish line that you got to see what you got. And Christian Campbell, I mean, he's already looked the part enough. And Roman Anthony's supposed to be the best of all three. So, like, I don't know. I feel like those prospects, I guess if Sandy looks like the old Sandy, then that changes the whole conversation, because a starting pitcher of that caliber becoming available with years of control, that changes the equation. But the Red Sox brought these guys to the finish line. I think they want to see it out.
Like, prospect nerds, let us know in the comments, please, if I'm mistaken. I think they also have like a good system outside of those guys.
Yes.
Like, they have other viable, tradable prospects.
They got a Cespedes. They got an Arias. Texas Rangers, kind of funny that they're having them in the mix for Sandy, because their pitching's been fantastic and their hitting kind of needs a charge. It's still early. A lot can happen in this MLB season. And then it's funny, again, as we fall into this other half, the New York Mets, I mean, they're talking about them potentially getting pitching, but it seems like they find pitching everywhere. But a reminder, they now have prospect capital that they can go out and do more moves, because they did a lot of their work in free agency. I know some of their pitching work was nervous, and let's see what goes on with Minaya and Montas this year. Another sneaky Luis Robert team, right? Like, they brought in Jose Siri to man center field. He hasn't been hitting a lot at all.
Hurt now.
I mean, could they be an Arenado team? Vientos has been struggling. I mean,
I think they were on the list.
DH and third. Yeah, it gets complicated, but they have, again, they're listed as they have depth. They have depth prospects to trade that can land you some of these top pieces without trading some of their top prospects. And And the Mets are just in it. I mean, they're close enough to having a good enough April that they can't blow it by the deadline. Right? Like, and they just paid a guy a billy. 8/10 of a billy. Excuse me.
They're going to be able to do something cool. They circle them as a Duran or Helsley team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, in theory, any team should be, because you're going to have a spot in your bullpen for them. But
they, need high-end bullpen. Okay.
And then, they just make everyone high-end. Yeah. The Phillies, they've been I've had my eye on them a lot recently. I think something is going to happen. I think this Bohm slow start, almost both sides have been waiting for. I think the Phillies are going to shake it up this year. I'd assume at third base. I kind of like the Arenado fit there the most. I mean, Arenado, Harper, Trey Turner, Castellanos, Real Muto. Like, that's a man team. We are young 30s. We've got a little bit of sauce left. Let's do this. I don't know if it's going to happen. Right now, as the Tigers as buyers, and they should be. Just a reminder, there was Tarek Skubal trade rumors as of this time last year. It would be funny if things go awry for the Tigers, like Skubal would be back in play. So if you're a daydreamer or a Boston fan that would trade Marcelo Meyer,
start rooting against Detroit.
Yeah, the wheels would have to really come off for Detroit. But again, for a lot of the baseball people I see, I don't see a lot of people slamming the table saying Detroit's awesome. I think they're a good team in the AL Central. Sometimes stuff happens in baseball. Let's see. Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers are kind of their own thing that I don't know what to do with that. I genuinely don't at this point. Guardians, my God, same.
Yeah. And you just said Brewers are their own thing, but those two together, own thing.
I don't know. I don't know.
Both teams do the occasional rental guy that's sort of fun.
Right, but they haven't done the big one. And Lane Thomas really struggling for the Guards right now. I don't know. In this article, which I didn't fully realize, kind of winds down with the whole NL West. That, again, our future friend Dave Schoenfield talks about just how crazy this 4-team race is. Padres, Dodgers, Giants, Diamondbacks. List young arms for either of them. And maybe this is where... Let's see what happens in the American East. Whoa. AL East. Just dunked on myself. Yankees are going to be in. That's exciting. Red Sox, I think, are going to be in. They got to. Right? And if the Yankees are in and the Red Sox are in, we've seen that get competitive. Remember when the Yankees needed Schwarber and the Red Sox needed Rizzo? So each team traded for the other one. That's good stuff. Let's get some of that this deadline. I don't know where the Rays are going to be. I don't know where the Orioles are going to be. I don't know where the Jays are going to be. They're going to be in the mix. How crazy are they going to be going in the mix? I don't know. All 4 of these NL West teams, Giants have gotten a lot of 100 mil ball players, and they've been playing good ball. That they are going to want to push some chips in. Buster Posey running the helm, like they got some new juice there. My Snakes, they signed Corbin Burns. They went to the World Series. They won the NL West. I feel like Jalen Rose talking about the Fab Five. Great documentary if you haven't seen it. I'm glad your dad went. I'm glad your mom went to college. I'm glad you had a relationship with your father. He was kind of talking through tongue-in-cheek there. The Dodgers, I mean, what stops them from anything? They list Ben Kasparius and Bobby Miller and Justin Robleski like they have depth that they're going to be able to do whatever they want. The Padres get interesting. And I don't know. They're just a curious case of they've got a good history with some of their prospects, or at least the ones they've kept. they're clearly in this. They still have a big payroll. They're still paying a lot of guys. It's just how much do they empty the chamber? Because Dylan Cease and Michael King are free agents this year. So what? I think if you're a Padres fan, you have to be absolutely stoked that this year of Padres baseball feels this way, how the offseason winded down. I still don't know the next 3 years of Padres baseball. There's some big ticket names on there. Are we going to be able to throw 9 figures at Mike King or Cease? I don't know. I think so. It feels like they're back in it. It feels like they're packing that ballpark. I have to still feel like that ownership financial equation makes sense in San Diego. Maybe it doesn't. I guess I have them as one of the big wild cards at the deadline. Because how much can you really keep pushing your chips in by trading away prospects? But they might have an amazing opportunity to take a run at this again with as much fuel as any other team in baseball. When your rivals won it all last year, you had them beat, and you didn't. Man, that NL West bidding war for some of these free agents might be pretty delicious at the end of the year. And I hope the AL East brings that too. So, hey, I guess below, let me know what feels like your team's weakness. Who are you already targeting? Because I know every team is. Every pitcher is currently a Yankee. Are we eyeing any hitters?
I don't see
so,
what
right?
happens in the infield, but nobody that I'm immediately like, Yanks are gonna go after this guy.
If the Yankees had to get one position, it would be third base.
Yeah.
As of right now, so that's if you wanted to do the Arenado dance again, which I don't think the Yankees do. Alec Bohm doesn't fit. I don't know. The Yankees just need every pitcher available, and so does every team, kind of around the deadline. But yeah, I guess let me know what your team is already eyeing as a contender of who fits, who would fit your team perfectly, because that's the other thing. Sometimes you need another contact bat. Sometimes you need a power bat. Sometimes you need a righty, lefty, whatever position. Let me know. You guys know your team better than us. I'm not going to do any Liga. It's already going to be old by the time this is out. I will tell you, thank you guys. Subscribe. Enjoy it. We will be back Monday. There's going to be maybe Foolish and Jolly at some point next week. Scary. Thank you guys.